Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 10th of June. Following Robert Murray McChain's readings, one of them is Deuteronomy chapter 15, which begins as follows. At the end of every 7 years, you must cancel debts. And looking at sort of preventing people ending up in complete poverty. And as I read that, I was reminded of other passages in the Old Testament which talk about cancelling debts. Once every 50 years, if anybody sold land, it must be given back to them. And I was thinking, it sounds all very good, but I'm not sure how well it would work in a 21st century capitalist economy. But then I was struck that it's not focusing on economic systems, but on how we deal with people. Because it continues in verse 7, if anyone is poor among your fellow Israelites in any of the towns of the land the Lord your God is giving you, do not be hard-hearted or tight-fisted toward them. Rather be open-handed and freely lend them whatever they need. And a little verse 11, it says, there will always be poor people in the land. Therefore I command you to be open-handed toward your fellow Israelites who are poor and needy in the land. So recognizing what Jesus said as well, there will always be poor among you, and we need to live generously. It also talks about a little further, verse 12, if any of your people, Hebrew men or women, sell themselves to you and serve you 6 years, in the 7th year you must let them go free. Looking at slavery, not the same as 17th, 18th century slavery that we had in the world, but where people in desperate situations would sell themselves to somebody to get the money to pay off their debts. And God says, after 6 years of serving you, let them go free. And he says, and when you release them, do not send them away empty-handed. Supply them liberally from your flock, your threshing floor, and your winepress. Give to them as the Lord your God has blessed you. And that to me is the key, that we need to live with generous hearts. And that'll be generous not just in terms of finances and giving to people in need, but generous in spirit as well, and giving time to people and allowing people to make mistakes and not hold it against them, and let people do things which we might not necessarily agree with and which will strike us as odd, but if that's what they want to do, that's fine. And so we really need to have this open-handed, generous spirit in all that we do, because that's the kind of God we serve. And as it says, if God has blessed us, how can we not pass that blessing on? So look at what God has given to you. Look at how much you've received from God. Big things, small things, some things which will be quite obvious, a blessing from God. But very often just the fact that you've got shoes on our feet is a blessing from God. And we look and say, God has given us all of this. Lord, help us to be generous in the same way that you are in all our dealings with people. So be challenged in that. Be encouraged by it. And share the blessings that you have.